realize how pointless it is not to work together to try to take out their biggest enemy, the enemy that disagrees with them all. They've realized they have more in common than the enemy, and they're thinking about what can they do. But still, fighting continues between the few. These three nations, well, they want something changed about this war, with the European Federation managing to push back the what's the Russians called? The Russian totalitarian Russians. Well, the front line starts going different. Although, seeing that they can take advantage of the weakening front line that China has, the Russian Federation and the European Federation decide it's a good idea to form an alliance. Well, that means they'll likely, I don't know which country changed the colors of, with the European Federation and the Russians teaming up. Now for the peace treaty between them as they decide to team up, forming an alliance. So let's see how the peace treaty goes. Treaty is to be allies. This time only. Both nations are already thinking about what they will do to betray each other. How to do it successfully. They're thinking of what they can do to betray each other. But as for now, they have two common threats. And they realize working together is a better idea. And well, China's not having fun against totalitarian Russia and totalitarian European Federation. The totalitarians form the Totalitarian Pact. Realistically, they both think of it as temporary, and they're both planning on betraying it. With country in Asia, China, is starting to fall as they rename themselves to the East Asian Empire. The name changes to try to distract people into nationalism, but Everett sees right through that plan. And well, the democratic forces start making landings on the coast, with the goal of both nations to get them to surrender. Them starting to struggle to push back, but they're not really failing, because the fronts are moving so slow. But now they're moved back into the India, which probably has resistance fighters. And well, not enough to pose a big deal. Well, the East Asian Empire does manage to push them back a bit down the coast. It's a battle against the East Asian Empire raging. But during this, the totalitarian Russians take advantage of it to liberate this land with the help of the totalitarian European Federation. Well, they do this. And then they move into this island in the north. And well, there's almost no escape for the East Asian Empire. They're starting to collapse. And well, they manage to hold back for a bit as totalitarian Russia, but the Totalitarian League decides to make an offensive into Japan, which might be a good idea. But the front line's starting to stabilize more than a bit, with them pushing back on both fronts. As well, this nation is on its last foot. With the Democratic Union deciding it's probably better to unify, which begins the creation of the, I don't know what to name this country, the formation of the American Union. The American Union, which is kind of crazy, with them managing to get Peru, Bolivia to join, Ecuador, Venezuela, northern Brazil, into the North American Union, which they start to begin known as the Democratic Union. But Brazil decides to join with Argentina, while North Brazil joined the North American Union. They're not yet ready to join, but they could. And well, the East Asian Empire is about to lose a big city, which they lose. They don't have enough resources to fund the war as they're getting invaded. And part of the thing about invading other places is you get more resources. And well, East Asia isn't having fun. Wait, I just called it East Asia. What am I? Like 1984? Oops. Wrong universe. Let's get back to the universe this is in. The East Asian Empire. Well, let's see how democratic forces are doing. Well, they're starting to gain lands. And they even pushed back the totalitarians, but they decide to let it slide for now. Well, the Democratic League's view is to liberate the world from totalitarianism, which is a stepping process, because, let's say, took away their rights, probably slowly, because if you do it too fast, well, you get too much resistance. You need to do it slow. And there's definitely, well, this could happen in our world, I guess. Probably will, eventually. Eventually, it'll take place, some kind of supernation, I would say. And well, they managed to push East Asia back in the north quite significantly. Why do I keep calling it East Asia if it's like the East Asian Empire? With them calling it the Qing Dynasty, thinking that'll create some sort of nationalism, but it doesn't really. Well, they're encircled over here. Well, with these front lines, they create a situation that's not that great. The Democratic forces agreeing they need to make more landings and advance as fast as they can. And this becomes known as the fall of East Asia. The fall of the East Asian Empire, which just renamed itself to the Qing Dynasty. Didn't work. Well, I guess maybe renaming yourself after your former greatness doesn't work. They then decide to call them the Ming Dynasty, and whatever dynasties existed, they just keep calling themselves a new dynasty every day. And acting like, wait, we never changed anything. We're definitely not trying to manipulate you. Yeah, that's probably what they sound like, honestly. Well, this is a partition, realistically. Well, let's see how the partition goes. With the Reds occupying their territories. This is what they occupy. As you can see, this war is like almost over. With it starting to seem like peace might come, actually. But it's unlikely. Well, the stalemate breaking out for a while. Although they're going to have to eventually realize that this is pointless to continue. But while we're at it, well, someone decides it's time to retake Iceland. Why am I calling Iceland Ireland? Maybe Iceland got angry and changed its name to Ireland. They're getting used to being liberated, but now it's deliberated. But they make it seem like you were never liberated. That was actually you being taken over. Definitely. With a few frontline changes. With the Democratic forces pushing forwards a tiny bit to about here. But that becomes the last movement of the front. And well, what is there? Who has the advantage? Probably the totalitarians, because they have 2.75 continents under their control. The USA has 3.25 continents, realistically. But if you look at it, Oceania and South America are very much less than, say, owning all the world. And well, here forms the Democratic Union. I don't know what to call it. You can call this country whatever. Give the Democratic Union a name in the comments. Just do it. Honestly, you should comment that. Also includes these 3 nations. And it's a democracy. And it's free. And it's fighting for liberty. So you can name it whatever. And if I like the name, I'll actually call it that. But you can look. You can see how great they are. And that's all for today's video. Please like, subscribe, and comment. Wild Mapper out. But not until you subscribe. Bye, guys.